Hello, my name is Brandon Enright, and today I'd like to show how to solve a Pentultimate. So we're doing this Puzzle Around the World project, and so there's a Pentultimate going around the world, and there's a lot of people that are going to have a chance to play with it, and a number of people are going to want to solve it, and they want to know a good solution, a physical by-hand solution, which is pretty significantly different than solving on a computer. It's pretty easy to solve this on a computer. You can be pretty efficient. You can do quite a few setup moves and undo setup moves, and you can use efficient 3 cycles. And it's a lot harder to do those sorts of things physically, in part because the Pentultimate doesn't really give you any. It doesn't really give you any anchor points. That is, half the puzzle turns in any given turn, so it's hard to maintain the orientation of the puzzle easily, and you can't use the center as a reference because the centers move. And so, anytime you have to remove your hands to move to do a different face, you run the risk of getting your orientation wrong and getting lost and not being able to solve the puzzle, or getting stuck and having to start over. So I want to talk about a solution that is it's inefficient on a computer, but it's pretty easy, pretty efficient, and it's less likely to cause errors physically. So the basic idea is to use as few setup moves as necessary, to do as little in any given step as necessary, and to use as few setup moves as possible for each given step. And so the first thing I'd recommend you do is pick a center and call it the solved center. And so on this puzzle, I'm going to use the white center. I'm going to call it solved. So you can pretend this puzzle's scrambled. What I would recommend doing is solving the 5 corners around your white center first. And what this will do is it will give you an idea of the color scheme. So if you solve those 2 centers, and you're going to know that needs to be those 2 corners, you'll know that needs to be the green center, and those will need to be the purple center, and then the light blue center, the pink center, so on and so forth. And so it'll automatically, you won't have to know the color scheme in advance, and you'll already get half the color scheme of the puzzle all in one go. This is pretty easy to do. You can bring up a corner in the bottom layer here. So that corner is in the bottom layer, and you can bring it up and into place around the corner. And you can do this for all 5 of the corners without much difficulty. And then to bring up a center, so imagine the pink center is right here, for example. You'd want to bring that over, bring the pink center up, which in this case, and then bring that back. And you'll see that all 5 corners around here are still solved, and we've moved a new center into place. And so in that way, you can solve the 5 corners around one center, and you can solve the 5 centers around that, and get a significant portion of the puzzle solved in the very beginning. Then what you're going to want to do is determine the color scheme for the rest of the puzzle, because you're going to want to solve the remaining 6 centers. So the way to tell the color scheme is you'll have this orange and this light blue center solved. This corner won't necessarily be solved. What you'll be looking for is, pink and light blue. You'll be looking for a pink light blue corner. And so you search around the puzzle, you'll find the pink light blue corner, and you'll see that it has a green sticker on it. And so the green center needs to go here. And you'll do the same thing here. You'll do the light blue purple, and you'll look around the puzzle and you'll find the light blue purple corner, and you'll see that it has an orange sticker on it. So the orange sticker needs to go here, so on and so forth. And then you just have to know that the yellow is opposite, or via process of elimination, you'll know the yellow is opposite. So the way you're going to go about solving these remaining 6 corners is pretty straightforward. There's a really, really simple 2-2 swap. And so that is, you swap these 2 centers and swap those 2 centers. And it's just a 1-1 commutator. And the nice thing about this is it maintains the bottom layer here that you've already solved. And so let me show that to you. Let's use the green and dark blue. So we'll do the green down, and then we'll do dark blue down, and then we'll do green up, and then we'll do dark blue up. That's a 1-1 commutator, so this is X, this is Y, undo X, undo Y, and you'll see that we swapped those two centers and we swapped those two centers, so it's a 2-2 swap. Now let me undo that. I'm going to do blue first, then green, undo blue. This puzzle does not reverse corner cut. You have to make sure to get everything aligned. And so it should be pretty straightforward to solve all of the centers using that 2-2 swap. If you run into a situation where you need to 3-cycle, you have an option. You can do this, so you can make a 3-cycle that involves these three pieces pretty easily. And so let me show you how you do that. You can do the original 2-2 swap. Okay. Now you can bring this green center into this orange spot. Okay. And then you'll undo X. And then you undo Y, and you see we created a 3-cycle of these 3 centers. So yellow went there, green went there, pink went, or orange went there. Now let me undo that. Okay, and so that's pretty easy to make a 3-cycle in that way. And the reason I showed it's a 4-1 commutator, so you do a 1-1 and then you as your X part, and then you do your Y, which is a 1 move, and then you undo your 1-1, you undo your Y. The reason I showed it as a 4-1 and not a 3-1 is that physically it's a little bit easier to stay symmetrical. If you really want to take a shortcut, you can do something simple like green up, yellow up, and then you can put that in place, and then you undo. And that'll also give you a 3-cycle of centers, and it'll do it in 8 moves instead of 10. But you should be able to solve all 5 corners around your white center, then solve all 5 centers around that, then solve the remaining 6 centers using a combination of this 2-2 swap and a 3-cycle. And at that point, you're down to permuting the corners and orienting the corners. Now, this can be quite difficult because these pieces have orientation to them. So it's more than just a matter of 3-cycling them around. They have orientation to them, and so you have to make sure that they're going to go into place correctly. I actually do it in 2 steps, even though it's very, very inefficient to do. I do it in 2 steps because setup moves are my nemesis. If I do more than like 3 setup moves on a Pentultimate, I can't undo them. I always mess up, and it's a matter of like orientation, getting the orientation right. You know, you were turning the brown face, and then you get off by a slight orientation, slight issue, a 72-degree rotation, and then you undo the wrong move, and it can be really, really hard to figure out what to do. And so let me show you how I do a 2-2 swap for corners. And this is really easy because you can solve one piece at a time with this 2-2 swap. So it swaps those 2 corners and those 2 corners. So it does this. And let me show it to you. It's highly repetitive. It's very inefficient, but it's highly repetitive, and it works very well. So what you do is you hold the puzzle so that you have a corner pointing at you. So we're going to hold it. Yeah, okay, so we're going to hold it like this. So we have this corner pointing at us. We have the pink face and the green face. And it's incredibly repetitive. We're just going to do a 1-1 commutator 3 times. So that's 4 moves 3 times for 12 moves total. The only trick is that the 1-1 commutator is not a 72-degree turn. It's a 144-degree turn. So let me show it to you. You're going to do, and so on this puzzle, it's kind of hard to make sure that you've done the right number of 1/5 turns. And so what I do is I count, and the way I count is I count the number of times a corner crosses this point. So that's 1, that's 2. Got it? If you don't count and you're not paying really careful attention on a catch, you know, the puzzle will catch slightly on you, and you'll not be sure if you've already done a move or not, and you'll get off. So be careful and count. So let me show it to you. I'm going to do pink down, pink up, green up. So let's do it. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, I've done this 1-1 commutator once. I need to do it 2 more times. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay? Everything is solved except for these 2 corners were swapped, and these 2 corners were swapped. This 2-2 swap has a very, very nice property to it in that it does not twist the pieces. So take a look. This was the blue, and this is the purple. Notice that blue and purple, they got swapped, but the pieces did not twist. This is incredibly convenient because then you can just look at the puzzle like this, you know, looking at this one corner, and you'll just know if it's going to go into the spot correctly or not. The other thing is these 2 corners also do not twist. So this is the I don't know, tan beige color, and the tan beige color stayed right there, and this is the white color and it stayed right there. So they swapped positions without twisting. And so you can, what I typically do is I'll place one piece either on these 2, or I'll place one piece on these 2, and I'll look for pieces first that have the right orientation. So if I was looking for the white, light blue, purple piece, then I want to make sure when I find it, the white, and then I put it in this spot, I want to make sure that the white is the one facing up so that it will swap into place and the orientation will stay the same. That matters a little bit later. So let me undo this. And the very nice thing is because this is a 2-2 swap and because it doesn't have any twist, it's self-inverse. So I don't need to worry about doing the inverse of it to undo it. I'll just do it again. So down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 up. Okay, I've undone it. You're going to be able to use this 2-2 swap almost the entire way. You're going to run into a situation, you'll most likely run into a situation at the end where you need to 3-cycle. And it's kind of hard to make a 3-cycle from doing a bunch of 2-2 swaps. It can be done, but it's kind of a pain. So let me show you how to turn that 2-2 swap into a 3-cycle, and there's a pretty easy way to do it. And so the idea is if we swap this corner into that spot, let's ignore this for a second. We'll ignore this swap. If we swap that corner into this spot as our X part, and then we do a Y move, we turn it so that there's a different corner, then we swap it, this corner that went here, now it goes here, and the corner that was, and then we undo the 2-2 swap, and then we undo this. What we will have done is we will have created a 3-cycle that goes from here to here to here, you know, in a 3-cycle like that. And in fact, we can do any of the 5 corners on this face. So we can do this corner and this corner, or this corner and this corner, or this corner and this corner, and this corner. You know, this is the only corner that we don't really have a lot of options over. And of course, we could use a setup move to change that too. So let me show you a 3-cycle real quick. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. Down, 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 up, 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 up. Down, 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 up, 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 up. Okay, so now we've done this 2-2 swap. Now I'm going to put this in its place, if I can turn it. Okay, now I'm going to undo. So down, 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 up, 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 up. Down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 up. Okay, now we need to undo. and we did a 3 cycle of this corner, and this corner. And notice that again, because it didn't change any of their orientations, these colors all stay. So you always have tan or white touching tan or white, and you don't have to worry about the twist of these corners. Okay, now let me undo this 3 cycle. The way you undo a commutator is you do the y part first. So the y part was this. Okay, now we're going to do the x part. Down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 and then we undo our y part. Okay, now we're back to just our 2-2 swap. Now we have to undo our 2-2 swap, and so let's do that. Down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 up. Okay. So I've shown you how, I've shown you solve the 5 corners around the center, solve the centers around that, solve the remaining centers. Now you see how to cycle all of the corners into their position correctly. Now let me show you how to change the orientation of 2 corners. And the way I do it is I do the 2-2 swap, as you saw previously, and then I change the orientation of this corner. So imagine that this corner is not twisted in place. Imagine that the purple is on the white, right? Imagine the purple's on the white. Or rather, imagine we want the purple to be on the white. In fact, here, you know what? Let me, I can't, this is going to be, okay, I'm not going to be able to do that. I'm just going to show you how to make the purple go to the white. And we'll twist this clockwise, which means we'll twist that counterclockwise. So let me show you how to do it. So do the 2-2 swap. Okay, we've done the 2-2 swap. Now we want to reorient this piece so that the purple is on this side, so that when it comes up, purple will be right here. So the way to reorient this piece, it's pretty darn easy to do. So the way we can do it, if we want to twist it this way, we can bring it, what we're doing is we're changing its position so it's right there. Okay, so let me show you. We're doing this. Okay, so instead of it being right there, it's right there. We just twisted it up. Okay, now we can push it back down. Okay, so we had our 2-2 swap, and we have our 2-2 swap. Now notice the purple's right here. So when it comes up, it's going to be in a different orientation. Okay, so and then we'll undo this. So let me do that 2-2 swap. Okay, now just notice that this corner is twisted. Now we need to undo the orientation change. So the last thing we did was we pushed, so we need to pull. Okay, and then we need to twist that. And we have now twisted just this corner and just this corner. Got it? So let me show you how to undo it. So, we'll pretend that this is the only thing left on the puzzle. And we want to say twist this corner and this corner, okay? Now let's just do it in this orientation again. Okay, so what we want to do is we're going to swap this over here, so swap those two. We can ignore what happens to these. And then we're going to want to twist this so that the white is up, so that when it comes back into place, it's in the right orientation. So let me show that to you. so now we have this piece and it's going to come into place. We need to make sure that the white is on this side in the place of the purple. Okay, so the way we're going to do that is we can bring the white over. Okay, so see, we're going to push it the direction of the color we want to move. Okay, and now it's right there, and then we'll push it. So now see the white's right here, so the white's going to come into place correctly. So now we got to undo our 2-2 swap. Okay, now we need to undo our orientation change. So the last thing we did was we pushed, so we need to pull. And we need to twist. And there we go, we're solved. And of course, you can twist, any two pieces on this puzzle. It doesn't have to just be these two, so you just use a setup move. So if you want to twist, say, this corner and this corner, then the way you do that is you could bring that over. Okay, so now the two corners that were adjacent to each other are now opposite each other. Then you do everything like normal, and then you undo your setup moves, and you would have just twisted these two. And as long as you're paying attention, as long as you only have two untwisted on the puzzle and you're paying attention, you'll always be able to solve both of them at the same time, because you can't have a single corner twisted. However, if you have lots of corners twisted, you may end up just twisting one corner at a time in the correct orientation. That is, both of these corners may need to go clockwise because there's some other corner on the piece that also needs to go clockwise. And so you just pay attention to twisting one corner at a time, just like when you were doing the 2-2 swap or when you're doing a 3-cycle. You were just worrying about putting one corner in at a time, and that will really help you reduce the amount of thinking you have to do. That'll really reduce the amount of setup moves you have to do. So let me recap. You can solve all 5 corners around the center using just intuition. Then you can place all 5 centers around that just using intuition. Then you can determine the color scheme by looking at the centers, looking around for the corners that have that share those colors, and determining what these colors are supposed to be. You can solve these centers via a 2-2 swap or a 3-cycle. The 2-2 swap is just a 1-1 commutator, down, down, up, up. 1-1 commutator does a 2-2 swap. If you want to commute that and turn it into a 3-cycle, you can just bring a face over, undo it, put the face back, and it'll do a 3-cycle of these 3. And in that way, you can solve these 6 centers. Then you're going to want to do a 2-2 swap of corners to position all of the corners. So swap those two and those two, or those two or those two, and you can use some setup moves. Just try to keep the setup moves to a minimum. So what I usually try to do is I try to find 2 that are broken, and I don't worry about them. And then and this one's broken, and then I try to find the corner that's supposed to go in this spot, and I put it in there, and then I swap it in. So I just do 1 at a time most of the time. Sometimes I'll do 2 if I'm lucky. When you get down to the end and you need to do a 3-cycle, then do your 2-2 swap, then twist this face so that you can do a 3-cycle of any of these 2 pieces, and any 2 of these 5 pieces and this piece. And then you should be able to cycle all of the corners into position properly, and then it's a matter of orienting the corners. And so again, do your 2-2 swap, change the orientation of this corner by pulling it and then twisting it, or by twisting it and then pushing it. Just change its orientation. You only ever need 2 moves to change its orientation. And then undo the 2-2 swap, and then undo the orientation change, and in that way you can twist all of these corners. And just methodically, you should be able to completely solve this puzzle. You should be able to solve it first try without making any mistakes, because these sequences are very repetitive. They're designed so that you don't have to pick up your hands off the puzzle very frequently, and that you don't lose the orientation of the puzzle, so that you're less likely to make mistakes. And if you find that you really need to use like 4 setup moves, just look around on the puzzle and find some other sequence to do so that you don't have to do the 4 setup moves. Because the more setup moves you do, the more likely you are to screw up. And so if you do get the puzzle around the world Pentultimate and you want to scramble it, please feel free to do so. You don't have to ship it solved, but if you want to give it a solve and you want to try your hand at solving and have fun with it, then I hope this method is useful. I think it's about as easy as you're going to be able to get and solve a puzzle as hard as the Pentultimate. So thanks for watching.